Welcome to another edition of In the Trenches with Dave Lapham, brought to you by First Star Logistics. As always, we're operating from our outstanding studio at First Star Logistics, and we've got players. We have a player wall where pictures of players, and we've got helmets, we got footballs, we got everything. First Star provides everything for us here. We could go out and have a game, play a little contact football, and that's a foreign term. Contact football. There hasn't been much contact going for the Cincinnati Bengals in their football. You got Bruce Kozerski here. He'd be the most versatile offensive lineman in the history of the Cincinnati Bengals, or the National Football League for that matter. Could play center, guard, tackle, and play every single one of them exceedingly well, man. Had the techniques and fundamentals down everywhere. Holy Cross graduate, Holy Cross collegiately. So he's got the brain power, and he's coming to us from Holy Cross, the high school.
That's right.
In Kentucky, huh? And
when I came to the Bengals, Dave, all I knew was you came from just a little bit north of Holy Cross College, right?
Yeah.
Up in Lowell, around that part of the time. And you were the tool. You were the multifunctional tool. And I wanted to be just like Mike. I wanted to be like Davey. And here, you get into the Ring of Honor here, and here I just want to be like you.
Yeah, well, you'll be in the Ring of Honor. It's going to happen. As a matter of fact, that you should be. There's a whole bunch of Bengals.
You're going to run out of ring.
Yeah, right. Run out of ring. But I'll tell you, when you do get in, man, it's an unbelievable experience. It's when you see your name, up there on that plaque, and it's going to stay there forever. That's definitely a unique experience.
I have an opportunity to congratulate you one more time in public, and I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of the fact that I know you and that I'm part of the same organization that you made great.
I appreciate that very much. And we were both members of offensive lines that really played well, played at a high level. We both had offensive line coach Jim McNally, who he's in
Guru.
The guru. He's in Rings of Fame, Rings of Honor, Hall of Fames. He's in all of those, and should be. He should be in every single one of them. How much of what Jim McNally taught you do you apply to the kids that you're coaching in high school?
Every day. When I was, it's you study so much film with Jim McNally. You know not only the plays you want to run, what you believe would work, the blocking schemes, but also the fundamentals of what you need to do to beat that guy across from the line of scrimmage from you. He would teach you guys to jump block. Occasionally on a pass block, the guy's a bull rusher. You want to get after him. You got to know these kind of things. And so high school kids are just naive. They don't know what they don't know. And so when you teach them and they use it and it works, man, what a great feeling for them. What a great feeling for me as a coach. And so you're teaching them to watch film, study their opponent, know their game plan, and it makes them all better. And they have a much better game because of it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You're grooming these young high school football players to maybe get a college opportunity, get a college scholarship. That's every family dreams of that. There's no doubt, particularly mom and dad, because it takes a little easier on the pocketbook. But
yeah, it does.
You've done that with quite a few players over the years at Holy Cross. What kind of a feeling is that when the family comes up to you and the dad shakes your hand and mom's got tears in her eyes and the kid is looking at you, with tremendous amount of pride because you're the guy that got him the opportunity to get a scholarship? What's that feeling like, Koz?
It's an amazing feeling, and you have a feeling maybe middle and into sophomore year, and certainly throughout their junior year as to whether they have a chance. And when you promote that opportunity, you tell them you have a legitimate chance because you're doing this, A, B, and C, working hard in the off season, playing well in ball games, studying film, knowing your opponent, and all the leadership. Then they take the next step. Then they work even harder, and they start getting information from different colleges and universities because of your recommendation. You get to know a lot more college coaches. They travel from one school to the other. And so now you have the diversity of multiple programs, bringing that kid to the table. And I think that's the biggest part of what we do, other than the education in the classroom, is to get these kids to realize that hard work pays off. What you put in, you have a really good chance of getting out. And if you don't put it in, you have no chance of getting it out. No guarantees in this life. But I know if you don't put it in, we can't find a spot for you. And if you're a bad influence, we can't recommend you.
You sound like a lot of what you're saying. Paul Brown said a lot of the kinds of things that you're talking about, Cos. And in my mind, he was the greatest coach I ever played for. I mean, the guy, he just had an unbelievable understanding of football, particularly the offensive side of it. But then he did understand his defense, and he always hired great coordinators who were on the same wavelength as him as to what he wanted to get done defensively, schematically, with personnel, configurations, what they're going to implement to try to stop and neutralize high-powered offenses and opponents. He was one of one. There's no question about that. And he hired great coaches. Jim McNally, like we've talked about, obviously being one of them, played for Forrest Gregg. You played for Sam Weiss, your creative offensive mind. Paul Brown was always on the cutting edge, wasn't he?
Always. And what made it real special is that he wasn't afraid to hire coaches that could take his job someday. Obviously he ran the club so that you weren't going to get his job.
Right.
But he everybody on his staff, every offense, defense coordinator, and many of the assistants below those guys became head coaches or could have been head coaches on his staff because they were qualified. And that was probably the biggest asset. Is you think about the lineage of coaches that stem from Paul Brown and how it created a whole new game of football. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It really is. It really is. There's no doubt about it. Let's talk a little bit about a little bit more about the last football game, the Chicago Bear game. What does it do to a football team? I mean, games. I remember, literally remember playing in games like that, and I felt like my heart got ripped out. It's like, man, how do you recover from this one? But you got to. I mean, that's part of the job. That's the biggest part of the job. You have to. You can't let things linger. You can't let negativity linger yourself or in the locker room. And you got to. This is where you find out who your leaders are on the football team. And I think they've got a bunch of leaders, really, not just the captains, co-captains, but I think leadership is plentiful with this football team. What do you think, Kaz?
I do. I agree with you, David. I think last week, the week before, were perfect synopsis of the whole season. If you go back after Joe got hurt, the offense was playing very poorly. We couldn't complete a pass, and if we did, it was usually to the opponent. And you started to see some defensive guys getting upset in the locker room, coming out publicly saying things about it. And then they make the change to Joe Flacco without even being in camp a week. He's starting, and all of a sudden, all the spirits have lifted, right?
Yep.
So now the first game's kind of flat because he doesn't know much. Second game against Pittsburgh, he's throwing the ball over the field. They win the game. They can do no wrong. A defense is playing well. Special teams playing well. Then the last 2 weeks come along. Offense is scoring almost at will, and the defense can't stop anybody. So it's like we can't get all three phases on the same page. So now the offensive players, just the opposite of what was happening early part of the season, now they're the ones. And it's not good to talk about your teammates in public. That stuff goes on behind closed doors because that just leads to huge divisions in the ranks. And that's what happens when you're losing ball games. You either stay together the whole time and you make those comments in private. And man to man, that's been said. Man to man in our locker room, it was said, guys, we got to get it together. You guys got to play better. We can't score enough points, that kind of thing.
Right.
But you just can't come out public and say it because that just destroys the team.
No question about it. It does. And I think. Do you think it's time for a team meeting where the leaders do step up and lay it all out on the table and say, guys, look, nobody's undefeated. I mean, like we talked about earlier. I mean, nobody. There's if they can get the worm turned with 8 games left to play, they're 3-6 right now. If they can get the worm turned, there's no reason. Well, I guess there's reasons, but theoretically, there's no reason that they can't, go 5-2 and finish with a decent record and stay in the hunt and maybe have a playoff game.
Well, I know if they can get it together, and again, I hope it's more productive than the last defense only meeting.
Yeah,
it would have to be. It would have to be. I think the talking outside the locker room has to stop. I think that's one thing you can address in that team meeting. The fighting inter-team squabble in public should stop. But again, there are no guarantees in terms of whether they get where they want to go if they stay together. But I know if they don't stay together, there is a guarantee that they'll never get there.
right on.
So you can go to work every day knowing that we got a chance, or you go to work every day blaming everything on everybody else and not looking within your own ability, not what you're doing, and have no chance for the team.
Let's take the last few minutes because I've already used up. I can't believe it. I've had you on for over a half an hour, man. Because when we get rolling, bro,
it's good.
You're the best. Let's talk about the opponent that they're going to be playing after the bye, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, the Bengals have not lost a division game. They got swept by the NFC North, crazy enough. That's a weird situation when you think we're competitive in our own division, but can't handle the NFC North. I mean, that's not I don't know. That's not a dynamo division in my estimation, but that's for another day, I guess. What do they have to do to stay competitive in the AFC North? In your opinion, what is the blueprint? What are the keys to success when you're playing in this tough division?
Well, they beat Pittsburgh the first time, and they're going to have an edge. When we hit the field in Pittsburgh, and it's in Pittsburgh this next time,
yep,
they got to hit the field fast. They got to hit running. They got to play solid defense and offense up front because Pittsburgh's going to play with an edge. And unless we jump on them early and take that edge away and make it a level playing field, they're going to continue. The crowd's going to get into the game. It's going to be more and more difficult with every snap, every big play that they make. And before you know it, that's going to be over. And now it's steamrolls because the rest of them are coming. Everybody's getting healthy. They're all playing better. It's critically important that this bye week solves some issues and that they go into Pittsburgh and get off to a fast start. I don't think a slow start wins that game.
I agree with you absolutely 100,000%. And, I don't think it's for lack of effort. I think they've shown up out of the locker room with emotion and spirit and attitude, and ready to play kind of thing. And then they lay an egg, man. They just don't get it done. It doesn't translate or transfer to them actually playing on the football field. But, after a while, all of that noise, all of that being vocal and everything, that rings hollow. You got to go out and just lace it up and tighten those shoulder pads and double your chin strap, strap it up twice and put on a bigger face mask if you need to and stick your face in there, right?
I was extremely impressed at how the Bears attacked the Bengals, knowing that they had this big defensive powwow and they were going to come out of the locker room with fire and brimstone, chasing the ball all over the world. And they did. Every fake play that the Bears ran, we were all over the fake and not over the real ball. And that took away our aggressiveness. And once it took away the aggressiveness, there goes the edge for the meeting. Because until they started throwing those trick plays at us, we were flying around the ball, tackling pretty well. And then all of a sudden, it's like, which way is the ball even going? We think it's going over here, but it's going over here. When the quarterback catches two passes, I mean, every reverse in the book, and he came from Detroit. That's the way they play in Detroit. Every trick play in the book, and it levels the playing field for teams that are really, really aggressive.
Oh, you're right. I mean, Caleb Williams, he caught a touchdown, threw a touchdown pass. He did a little bit of everything. And you're right. I mean, the gadget gimmick plays really hurt him. Every single one of them,
everyone
caught him flat-footed, caught him flat-footed, like eyes everywhere. Which way did he go? Where are my keys? I've lost track of my keys, and you lose discipline like that. You're in trouble. Give me an idea, Koz, how many games do you think it will take to stay competitive, to be in the division hunt? What do you think? Is it 8? Is it 9?
Mentally, you think you got to win them all.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to happen. I think you got to win. I think you got to win 6 games. 6 games to make a run out of it. If you don't win 6,
9 wins. Yep.
That's going to put you 9-7, and it's tough. That's a tough road. But there's room there. There's room because everybody else is playing mediocre or poorly as well, except for the division winners, and there's some gaping holes in there.
Yeah. I'll tell you, man. Well,
Kansas City got it right, although they lost last week in Buffalo. Buffalo's got it going. That division is tough. We play Buffalo, I believe, down the road.
Yep.
It's not an easy place to play, and so you gotta come up with some of those upsets. I think they would have assumed, having played the way they've done, Pittsburgh wasn't upset. Would you say that's kind of fair? But it wasn't Cincinnati, and they took care of business. I think that's the bottom line. Stay focused, take care of business, and let the ball fall where it does.
I mean, they've been in every game at home. The crowd has been great. I mean, they've turned out. They've been loud, very vocal. the problem that you start to face is losing some of those people, where people don't show up, or worse yet, show up and sit on their hands, and don't make any noise. That's a brutally tough dynamic there. You don't want any part of that, do you?
No, the big crowd, the big Bears crowd in that stadium was ridiculous. I mean, they made plays and you couldn't tell whether you were in Cincinnati or Chicago.
Right.
Then they went up by 2 scores, and a bunch of the crowd was leaving. I had to leave because I had to get to the radio with WW, and I started walking across. You had to wait for a crowd to get out across the street. You had police crossing massive crowds already. And then I get to the far side waiting for my ride and looking back on the Jumbotron, we'd scored.
Right.
Crowd goes, whatever crowd was left goes nuts. Then the onside kick, they go nuts again. And then we scored another touchdown, they go nuts again. It's like, my gosh, they got a chance to win this game. But, there's 56 seconds left. There was a sinking feeling in my heart.
I hear you. Let's talk about your team, your season again a little bit. I mean, how many guys you got on your roster that are college scholarship worthy and leading you to victory after victory on a weekend-to-weekend basis?
Holy Cross has several. I'm not the head coach here at Holy Cross anymore.
Right.
But Holy Cross has several. We've got a huge tight end, 6'7", and about 230 pounds. He's been recruited by some big schools. Max Hunt doing a great job. We got a lot of really good position players that are going to be Division III, Division II caliber type of players because of size. One of their better players is out all year. He hurt his knee in training camp, had a meniscus tear, and was out for six months, and so he won't be back. Maybe if they make the state championship game, but they have an undefeated season going here. I've been working with my son over at the Bishop Brossard, and we had a really good season going. Got into some really physical opponents. Got some guys nicked up, and on small rosters, just like here at Holy Cross, we always had some injuries. It affects your performance because you're playing sophomores and in some cases freshmen in positions that they're not physically able to handle at the varsity level just yet. But it's part of the game, Dave. You move on, next man up.
Yep. There's many. I remember my high school football career for many reasons. Guys I played with are lifelong friends, still buddies with them today. We communicate all the time about all kinds of things, not just football, but life in general.
Right.
And having those winning seasons, those championship seasons, you never forget. And not only winning the championship, but winning it at a special place. Do you guys get to go somewhere unique and special for your state championship game? We used to go to Boston University or to Boston College or, two schools that
right. We won our state championship. It was at Western Kentucky University.
Nice.
And it was a great atmosphere, great crowds. I think now they play it at Kentucky, UK, and so it's still great crowds, a great opportunity for these kids to step on a big-time college football program, and again, it's a time of their life. They've never played 15 games in a full season to get to the state championship, so it's the wear and tear. But when you win, you know how that is. Nothing hurts. Nothing hurts, and they're young too. They heal quick.
How many like really gifted athletes do you have, Cos? How many guys do you have that are not only play football, but play basketball, play baseball, put the shot, throw the discus, whatever the case may be? I know you're a multi-sport guy. You're great.
This football team here has a lot of basketball players, football players, obviously. They've got a lot of baseball players. It's a very good baseball program here as well.
Yeah,
and
right.
So they're quick. The football players that play basketball are very quick, ball control kind of guys or guards, and a couple of small forwards. Max Hunt is a big center, the 6'7", 230-pound tight end. Brossard has a whole bunch of big, tall guys that play basketball. Some really great baseball players. They got a shortstop that can play in college. They got a catcher that can play in college. So both programs are gifted. And that's most high schools that are competitive in one sport typically are competitive in multiple sports because it's really the same guys going from one to the other.
Sure.
So yeah, we're very proud of both sets of programs, both athletes, and it's an honor for me to work with both groups.
Cos, these college coaches I know hold your opinion in high regard about players, not just your players, but opposing players that you may have come across during your season. That it's like, oh man, yeah, this kid, shoot, he's a good player, man. He's a great technique, great fundamentals. How many times do coaches from Ohio State, from Kentucky, from Indiana, from University of Cincinnati, how many times are those coaches sitting down with you and saying, "Koz, man, give me an idea, give me a little bit of a scouting report, give me your take, your version on what kind of a player this kid is"?
Well, when I had Derek Barnes here at Holy Cross, I knew he was a great player, and I needed to get someone to notice it. And I made recommendations to Kerry Combs at Ohio State and a couple, Brom when he was at Western Kentucky and a few others. And so when Derek was only getting the MAC schools invitations, and he had scholarship from all of them, I called Kerry and I said, "What's the chances that you can come down and see this kid? I'm telling you, I've seen a lot of great athletes, but this is the finest one I've seen in a long time. And I need you to take a look at him." He was in the school the next day. He walked in. He was invited to their big camp. And when Coach Fickle was up there, he took 6 linebackers in the building, and running backs and quarterbacks, and everybody else. All 600 kids were outside except for those guys. And he put on a show. And Fickle came over and said he's the best linebacker here, but the coach already has offered 3 linebackers, and so they didn't offer him. And his goal in life was to play in the shoe. And so when he went to Purdue, Brom transferred to Purdue right before the signing period. He called me up and said, "Hey, Coach, I know he wasn't interested in Western, but how about Purdue?" I said, "Absolutely." So we had him up there the next day, and he committed to go to Purdue. Broke the heart of Toledo because that guy was on him like white on rice.
Right.
And 2 years later, they go into the shoe and beat him. And that was the game of his career in college. He's had some good ones here lately in the NFL too.
Man, telling
you. Michael Mayer, tremendous tight end from Cupcalf.
Yeah, right.
Played first round pick. We've had some great athletes in Northern Kentucky. Quarterback that played at Minnesota was out there. We had conversations about him. A lot of the coaches in Northern Kentucky are a close group of guys, and they want to promote all their players because it just speaks volume for the level of football played over here.
Yeah. I mean, it is a good brand of football. I mean, Kentucky, or I should say high school football in the city of Cincinnati, I mean, every network covers it. I mean, it's big time. I mean, Friday Night Fever is huge. I grew up in the New England area. Football is big up there. There's no question. I mean, it's a family affair. Community. What is that like when basically the whole community? It's almost like the football team is the leader of the parade. I mean, the whole team parades out there on the football field and puts on a show. What's that like?
The community, when you're winning ball games, you can do no wrong. The community is right behind you. Some programs, Holy Cross community has been fabulous for all the seasons, winning and losing. But every now and then you go in a rut, and mom gets involved and wants to talk to the coach, and it's like, I'm coaching your son. I'm not coaching you. You're going to wait 24 hours, and we'll have a meeting with myself and another coach, or myself and the principal. If you feel like you can make this program better, I'll meet with you, but I'm not going to meet with you when you're angry. I want to make you settle down, think about it, because then half the time they don't want to meet. Half the time they think about it, they say, "You know what? I'm not going to address that."
Right.
Most of the time, it's words that are said in heat of the moment. And having played a lot of football games, Dave, that in the heat of the moment, things are said on the sidelines that need to be left on the sidelines.
Right. No question about it. Absolutely right. You're a very very smart individual, high IQ, not just high football IQ, but very intelligent man. And you get a degree. You go to high school and you get a scholarship, go to college and earn a degree from a reputable institution like Holy Cross, more than reputable. What's that like? What's that like for you and your family? How proud are your parents on graduation day when you come walking down the aisle with the cap and gown and diploma?
Amazing. It was amazing. My siblings, lower middle class family, 6 kids in the family. It was difficult to go to college and get it paid for.
Sure.
I was blessed. I did have a knee injury in high school, and at that point, Mom said she wasn't going to let me play football anymore. And I begged my dad, and fortunately, he signed the physical for him but he did say you're gonna get in that weight room and bust your butt on the track, and because if you get hurt and I get divorced, I'll never forget you. I'll never forgive you. And so I did. So at that point, I realized that football could be a one-play deal, and So my education, fortunately, was high expectations to begin with. Holy Cross offered me a scholarship. I'd already had the paperwork from my senator to go to West Point. I was almost going to West Point.
Really?
I had North Carolina. I'd visited Howard Schnellenberger in Miami, Florida. I knew that wasn't a possibility when I went there and saw everybody on the beach at noon. It would have been a great place to go, but you're not going to get educated. And having had that knee injury, I knew that wasn't a possibility. So I went to Boston College and a few other places. But when I walked on campus, my sister gave me some advice. She said, when you're in the right place, you'll know it. And I walked on the campus, a great institution for academics. They had the program I wanted for mechanical engineering. I went to Holy Cross and Worcester Polytech at the same time. 2 different schools, played Division I football. What else could I ask for? And they worked with me because of the classes. There were all different times. I started as a freshman. What else could happen? And so it just magically worked out, Dave. I don't know how to explain it. It just, how it is. You're playing and you're getting the grades, and it was a miracle. I met my wife as a freshman, and that kind of kept me focused and grounded. I didn't need to go to parties to meet people, and I was just, it happened.
Yeah.
41 years later, here we are, married 41 years later, 50 years in football, 52 years now with all we've done the last couple of years. And I've got some body parts repaired since I stepped down as the head coach. You know how it is.
At least you got all your own.
Sometimes the wheels fall off the wagon.
No, I hear you. But you got your own. You don't have replacements. I mean, that's all good. But
right.
When you think of it, everything you just talked about right there, it's been a beautiful football life for Bruce Kozerski. Yeah. And you've earned and deserved it, my man. I mean, nobody gave you anything.
That. I mean, one thing I want to do is say kudos to the administration at Holy Cross for letting me do what I did for all those years. We started the program on a wing and a prayer.
Yeah.
23 kids. Only 4 had ever had a helmet on, and I swear it was on backwards, or maybe a trick or treat. And we turned the program really quickly into something that was substantial. And I'm very proud of that. And I wish these guys all the best. They're 10-0 for the first time in school history. Division champs for the first time in school history. So keep it going.
Keep it going for sure. Koz, with that said, can't thank you enough and wish you nothing, you and your family, nothing but the best as well. And let's both go out and have the best day we ever had. What do you say?
Yes, sir, Scoop. I appreciate you inviting me on the show. Have a great day.
You do the same, sir. Much appreciated.
Take care.